Hi, I'm Alex Brown. I'm here at the 4 Points Sheraton Hotel. I am the licensed after-school care director at the Boys and Girls Club of Stoneham. Also one of the co-MCs of the evening, and I'm also here with my handsome co-host, who I will let introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Joe D'Alessandro. I am also one of the hosts of tonight's gala. I am the teen director and chief culinary officer at the Wakefield Boys and Girls Club. We're here. There seems to be a lot of people here already. Let's tuck that in there. Interviewing some people coming down. It's been a fun night so far. So we'll see who we have coming down and ask a couple of questions. It seems fun. So,
Looking forward to it, yeah. Something we're looking forward to, and hopefully get some good interviews and answers out of these people and find out.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about going a big fat 0-1 against me in fantasy football? Always do the decimal scoring because you never want to tie. Tied week 1, week 2 I beat them. It is what it is.
Welcome everybody to our second annual gala for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Stoneham and Wakefield. We want to thank you first off for all being able to come out of your busy schedules, which I know everyone has worked hard to kind of maneuver their way to be here to make this a really special occasion. My name's Alex. I am one of the two fabulous hosts of the evening.
Hi there. My name is Joe D'Alessandro. I'm the second host of the event tonight. Anthony, where are you?
Right here.
Hi, Tony. How are you?
Yo, you look good.
Alex, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
How many? This is a hefty script. How many meetings did we have to go over this script?
Well,
Look at Anthony's face. He's nervous.
we had breakfast. I don't know how much we went over the script at breakfast because we're eating a lot. And the OJ was really good. The second time was late. Joey had just finished up setting his culinary arts,
Chief Culinary Officer.
his culinary arts class with his teens down at the Wakefield Club. But I think we really only met 4 times for the script.
4 times. 4 times. 4 times. And this is a hefty script. So Anthony, I'm going to do myself a favor. I'm going to do him a favor. I'm going to do you a favor. Do all these people a favor. Take this. Right in the mic. Here you go, Tony. We'll leave that there for you, buddy.
Anyway, good luck with that now that we have no idea what we're doing. No, kidding. So first off, we would like to have now if you have, this goes for either club, for both Stoneham and for Wakefield, could we have all of the board members and directors, both clubs, please? Board members, at any point in time, can you please stand up at this moment? Could you please stand up? We'd like to recognize you for all your behind-the-scenes work that you do for both of our clubs. Thank you very much. You may be seated. And also, we just had a brief little switch in our agenda. If we could actually invite up Steve Morelli, the general manager of the Sheraton Hotel. Steve, where are you, Steve? If we can have you, come on up, Steve. We'd love to have you.
That might work for you. Love you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks for being here tonight. Great establishment, great event, and it's personal to me. If you were here last year, I told a little story that I actually grew up in East Boston, Massachusetts, which is pretty close in East Boston. My mom's second generation North End Italian, so my uncle owned a bakery over there. But growing up in East Boston, there's not a whole lot of choices of things to do. So having the Boys and Girls Club there, I was a member there, it gave us great opportunities to play sports, socialize, meet some kids around that maybe we wouldn't have otherwise. And so when I look at this organization here tonight, and I see the things that they do day in and day out, although this is obviously one event, it's incredible. And I'm sure you're gonna hear some really interesting stories tonight about some other kids as well. But when I look back at some of the folks that went to the Boys and Girls Club, some of my friends that are obviously around my age now, and I look and I see a lot of success. I see that it's a great building block and foundation outside of the house, outside of school. It gives kids a lot of things to do that they might not have otherwise. So there's a lot of great auction items out there. We hope that you'll step out and bid. And as they say, it takes it takes a village to raise a child. So I guess it takes a few communities to raise our children. So thank you for being part of this.
Thank you, Steve, again. We really appreciate it. Can we give Steve around another round of applause, please? And again, I know Steve had mentioned the auction items. We have them, silent auction items, out on the round table, just in the back foyer. We also have $20 water bottles with a playing card on it. And
You see Donna back there? Look at her. Donna's hungry. She wants to come back in here. She wants to eat. You know, there's some nice food. We got cannolis, everything. Come on, go buy the water bottle so she can come in and relax and enjoy herself, please.
they're going fast. Dawn and I actually have a little side bet where she didn't think they would all sell. I said they would. And she actually offered 4 days off for me. And now that I'm a full-time employee, I understand, okay, when you're in work, you're in work. Doesn't matter what time you clock out. So let's for the auction of the water bottles, so the playing cards are really important when you get the water bottles. Make sure to keep them. We have Boston sports autographed memorabilia, just to highlight. We have Malcolm Mitchell and Matthew Slater autographed. We also have the Celtics team autographed. Is just some of the previews for some of the memorabilia that we do have. They're going quick. Make sure you get out there. The silent auction items are also a great choice as well. And Anthony's going to be doing live auction items throughout the night too.
Yeah, and apparently Alex gets 4 days off by Saturday, so make sure you go do that for him.
Hey, I asked for it and I needed it.
Jeez.
So. All right, so to really kind of kick off tonight, Joe, it'll be taken care of. Don't worry, I promise. We have a fine list of staff who are all qualified for that. Good question, though. So just to start off, my name is Alex. I've been going to the Stoneham Boys and Girls Club since I was about 8 years old. I now currently just got a full-time position as the licensed after-school care director for kids 5 to 7. They're a good time. They really enjoy getting messy with paint. And it gets everywhere, especially our tables. But it's an awesome experience. I wouldn't change it anything for the world. I was very lucky and fortunate to have this opportunity. And this is my second year hosting the Gala too. I wasn't terrible last year, so they actually asked me to come back, which was nice. But yeah, just a little bit about me, and then Joey's gonna give you a little intro about him too.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Joe D'Alessandro. Thanks for the intro. I grew up at the Stoneham Club, as some of you may know. The club means the world to me. It's a second home to me. I am now the team director and culinary coordinator for the Wakefield Boys and Girls Club, so we're looking forward to this year. I was also a part of the Gala last year. I was a speaker, but this is a little transition. I get to come up here, talk a little bit, schmooze around, so it'll be good. So, first speaker, very important young woman. She's our 2017 Youth of the Year. She's intelligent, she's so bright, she's fantastic, she helps with everything. I want to introduce Samantha Rexroad, our 2017 Youth of the Year.
everyone to our annual gala. My name is Samantha Rexroad, and I'm the Boys and Girls Club of Stoneham and Wakefield 2017 Youth of the Year. Youth of the Year is an incredible honor. Last year, the Youth of the Year was Shannon Leeson. She shared her courageous story about overcoming bullying. Also last year, other Youth of the Years, Christine Murphy and Jolie D'Alessandro, shared their powerful stories about how addiction tore their families apart. Tonight, you'll hear more powerful testimonials from my friends, staff, and others. But for me, I want to share something different. I was not bullied like Shannon. I did not battle addiction like Christine and Jolie's families. I play sports, I get good grades, I have friends. But both my parents are involved in my life and have good jobs. My dad is a local firefighter, my mom works in Stoneham, and she is my best friend in the whole world. I'm an only child, so I'm clearly the favorite child. So why do I need the club? At first, it was just a place to be. Both my friends work, so I started going to the Boys and Girls Club when I was around 8. I didn't love it, but I also didn't hate it, but something started to happen. In elementary school, I'm not even gonna lie, I was like a really weird kid. And as I started coming more and more to the clubs and becoming more involved, I realized I kind of like this place. So at the end of the school year, I asked my mom to sign me up for every week of summer camp, and I had the best summer of my life. During that summer camp, I became really close to Jessica Anthony. I learned so much from her. She was a staff member, a friend, and a mentor. Jess, I know you're here tonight, so can you please stand up? You mean so much to me and the girls, Jess. Jess now works at the high school where she can impact kids even more, and I get to say hi every single day. So earlier this year, I had a severe allergic reaction. I was hospitalized and I almost died. It was terrible. But during this time, I suffered strep throat, pink eye, and so many other things. But the worst part, that was me and my best friend Tara, who's over there. We got to miss the closing sale of one of our favorite clothing stores, and we missed so many good deals and so many good clothes just because I was sick. But seriously though, when I was sick, I did miss my friends, I did miss my school, and I really missed the club. I missed it not just because I was sick, but because I needed somebody. My parents recently got divorced, and to be honest, it's kind of crappy, and I was and still am scared. Everything's changing in my life, but the only constant I have is the club. And it's because of the club that while everything is changing, I'm still going to keep making the right decisions. I'm still going to be social, and I'm going to play sports. I'm still going to get good grades and do my best to make Jess, the club, and my parents proud. Our theme tonight is Great Futures Start Here. So why do I need the club? Because the reason I'm here is the person I am. The reason I can stand here before you and say I have a great future is because of these Boys and Girls Clubs. Thank you.
Careful.
So our next award, Joey, I'm actually stealing this from you.
Oh, go ahead. I'll come up.
Hello again. So next we'd like to introduce, last year we introduced our Great Futures Scholarship, and this, I'll let you get it in a second. So this year's winner of our 2017 Great Futures Scholarship goes to a Mr. Matthew Marrera. And Matthew, if you could come up right now, that would be great.
Yeah, he's not here.
Oh.
Anyone want to take a guess at why he's not here? He didn't want to skip class. It just goes to show he's dedicated. He loves school. And in 2 years, when he's a junior, he's going to wish he skipped class to be here. So, yeah.
All right, so before we get to our first honoree, who is Epsilon here with us tonight. we actually want to announce that going forward, we're going to, it's not going to only be named the Great Future Scholarship, which we hand out each year to an individual, again, like Mr. Matt Marrero, who has excelled in all of academic areas. But we would like it to be in honor of Epsilon. So we're actually going to be honoring Epsilon with the Epsilon Great Future Scholarship as a way to recognize their contribution to our kids and their clubs. So yes, again, Epsilon, thank you very much. Hello, I'm now here with Steve Mayo, the town administrator of Wakefield.
Wakefield, yeah.
So Steve, tell us a little about of your involvement as the town administrator for Wakefield.
Well, a few years ago, when the Boys and Girls Club from Stoneham came to Wakefield and said, listen, we think there's a need, we'd like to get involved in your community, we thought it was a great idea, but we need space. So we do have a town-owned building, it's called the Civic Center, and we talked to the Boys and Girls Club. They refurbished it, they came in, they are now our tenant, so to speak, and it's right across the driveway or parking lot from our middle school. Perfect for that age group, and now hundreds of families, children enjoy it, so I think it's absolutely fabulous. So I love it.
Awesome, and I know you're...
Anthony Guardia is an old friend of mine, so whatever Anthony wants, he gets, basically, so...
He's the same way down at work,
Yes,
too.
I know he is.
We get it all the time.
I know he is.
So I know you're a huge fan of the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Absolutely huge.
What is it specifically that you think that the Boys and Girls Club really, like, their mission? What really stands out to you about the two clubs?
I think what stands out to me is that they take kids from all walks, all ethnic groups, all socioeconomic groups. And when you listen to their stories of some of these kids and what they've gone through and how the Boys and Girls Club has been that buffer for them, have been that crutch or that inspiration, and all of a sudden what they're doing is just, and how well they're doing is just overwhelming. And what's great is that a lot of the people on the board, or most of them on the board, are former members of the Boys and Girls Club, and they're really giving back to what it meant to them as kids. So I love it, I think it's fabulous, and I think it's just out of this world.
Well, I know we couldn't do it without the help and support of our community members.
We work together, it's fabulous.
True. All right, last question. If you had to give me your top 3 favorite songs of all time, what would they be?
All right, my number one song is by a one-hit wonder called Looking Glass, and that's the song Brandy. Brandy, you're a fine. Yes, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes if you go down to Artichokes at night and you've had a few, I might be up at the mic, whirring my way in to sing it, so that's got to be number 1. Number 2 is Are You With Me, Dr. Wu by Steely Dan.
I've heard that song.
You heard
Yes,
that song?
I have.
And number 3 is by a band called Orpheus, I Can't Find the Time to Tell You. And that was my wife and I wedding song about 30 years ago. So it made it to the top 3, so I won't be in too much trouble when I get home.
Excellent, Steve. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Great night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, hey, where's George Getty? Guys, I'm going to invite our board chair, George. You know, George is one of the best people I know, period. He lectures in church. He runs every 5K he can. He was the reason why this organization started in Wakefield. George, you know, we're going to talk a lot tonight about the community and building a better place through our community. You exemplify everything that is right about community. George, come up. Love to have you. That was all bullshit.
Good evening, everybody. Before I actually get started,
Go into the mic.
what's that?
Talk more into the mic.
Good evening, everybody. Before I actually get started, I actually wanted to ask the staff to please stand up. I want everybody to see more beautiful faces.
Staff,
Come on, staff. I know you're out there.
Come on, stand up.
These are the people. These are the people who work hard every day to provide our youth a safe environment with engaging programming. We are so fortunate to have them as champions for our youth in our communities. And that's also for you. We're very fortunate for you to be here tonight with us because these are our clubs. I'm still not talking into the mic. I was always told I was loud, too. Anyways, we're very lucky to have you all here tonight as champions for our youth. These are our clubs. As an organization, we'll always work tirelessly to ensure that our members have the best experience possible. But it's your support that helps us expand our programming and provide more possibilities to them. In fact, we depend on over 50% of our revenue, 50% of our revenue, to come from donors like you. So thank you all for coming tonight and for continuing your support. Being a Boys and Girls Club alumni from Woburn, I have firsthand experience on what a club can provide and how positively it affects you. One thing that stuck with me always is, Anthony kind of already said it, is the sense of community it gave me. Even while I was going to the club, it was clear to me that it wasn't just the community of the friends that I had, but it was also extended to the adults who were working there, who were volunteering, either their time or their hard-earned money. When you're a kid surrounded by a community of caring adults, believe me, it has an impact. Now I'm one of those adults. I remember as we got closer to opening the Wakefield Club, we knew the need was there. It was clear. What we didn't know, and we're very nervous about, was how were we going to raise the money necessary to provide not only the space for our members, but also high-quality staff and programs for them. For instance, bringing our members access to STEAM programming that provides them opportunities to support to reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. That is our mission, after all. Fortunately for us, there are already productive, caring, responsible citizens in our communities that felt the same way. What had started off with a simple coffee and Panera with folks from Epsilon turned into volunteer mentoring. Some dodgeball games were had. And now, a transformative gift of $150,000. And I literally mean transformative. As we announced earlier this year, our Wakefield Teen Center is now the Epsilon Teen Center. The Epsilon Teen Center is already a point of pride for our teens as we continue to make improvements there and throughout the clubs. If you haven't seen the Teen Center lately, I suggest stopping by and taking a look. In fact, Diane Dunnell, if you're here, could you please stand? I'd like to recognize Diane as she spent a lot of volunteer time designing the Teen Center and also helping us plan work to reshape our clubs that will allow us to utilize our spaces to their full potential. So Diane, thank you very much for all that. Epsilon's generous gift has given us space that will continue to attract teens, which in turn helps minimize the potential that they will experiment with risky behaviors. Rather, we can provide them with programming that builds career-ready skills. We are so thankful to be honoring Epsilon tonight. At this time, I would like to ask Sarah Neal and David Lucy to come up here and accept a token of our gratitude on behalf of Epsilon.
If you want, the mic is yours.
Okay.
And so on, I hold this.
And thank you for that introduction. My name is Sarah Neal, and I'm here with Dave Lucy. I've worked for Epsilon for about 7 years, and sorry, I have a loud voice, but I need the mic, apparently. So I worked for Epsilon for about 7 years, and I don't know if any of you in the room know much about Epsilon, but we're a marketing database company here in Wakefield, and We employ about 10,000 employees across the globe, 64 office locations across the globe, and in Wakefield, in your backyard, there are 900 employees in Wakefield. That's huge, right? So we have a huge constituency here in Wakefield. And about 2 years ago, I was challenged by Epsilon to come up with a strategy for partnering with our community because we have such a large presence here in Wakefield. And I was having coffee with my girlfriend, Catherine Dingra, who's here with us tonight, who works downtown Wakefield in the Board of Health. And I said, I gotta create this partnership, and I'm not sure where to start. And she said, I got the perfect guy. Let's have coffee. My friend's name's Anthony. You'll love him. I'm like, all right. So we did. So we met at Panera, just like it was mentioned, with myself, Anthony, Catherine, and Alexandra Musgrove, who is kind of the worker bee and brains behind kind of the connections that we really truly made with the Boys and Girls Club. And after that coffee together, I thought, oh God, how are we gonna make this happen? We've got all these employees and this club in town, and what can we really do? And little did I know, it was 2 years ago, the club had really just started formulate, just beginning. It was in its infancy at that time. And we walked out there. I was so energized. I was like, we had all these ideas, this Shark Tank initiative where we bring the kids in and we'd mentor them, and we'd do this big kind of event at the end where we award these kids some nice awards for kind of the contributions that they made, and then the mentor program, and then the dodgeball, and then next thing you know, here we are a year and a half into it, and we've created this great partnership with Anthony and the team. And then about a year ago, I was challenged with another big challenge of Epsilon came to me and said, we have some money we have to give away. How can I help? You can give it to me, it can go in my paycheck, whatever you like to do. But it was a really easy decision because at that point, we'd created the relationships, we had the partnership, so it was a really easy decision. And I'm so proud that we were able to make that connection. The Epsilon employees are proud of the partnership that they have with the community. And so thank you to the Boys and Girls Club for making that effort and the connections with us so that we could partner with you and give you the funds.
That was great, Sarah. And Joseph, you had my speech earlier. You ripped it up, so I'm just gonna have to wing it. But the only thing, I couldn't say anything better than Sarah did. But we're just happy to say too, we're going to continue this relationship. And so this wasn't as I said to Anthony earlier, this wasn't sort of a one and done contribution from our company. This is something we're going to look to sort of keep perpetually year after year and watch this grow. So we're excited for the future here. So thank you.
I'm here now with Joe Gatto, the one and only. Joe has been involved with the Boys and Girls Clubs for quite some years now, but don't let me explain it all. I'm going to let Joe take it. So, Joe, how long have you been involved with the Boys and Girls Clubs, and what is it that you specifically partake in?
I've been doing this with the Boys and Girls Club for years at this point, and I'm a chef. So I have a national book, television show. I do everything from scratch. That's kind of my deal. Like I hand forge my own knives. I know this guy.
Hey, what's up? I just wanted to come in.
This guy many a time.
Anytime I see Chef Joe Gatto here, I got to come in and say hi. Joe, who are you wearing tonight?
This is my Armani.
Yeah, this is nice. This is a handmade. Actually, it's a Brooks Brothers, so it's not bad, actually.
No, and you smell nice as well.
Yeah, thank you. It's I don't shower. It's natural Italian.
It's so French.
All right, guys, hey, I'll let you go. I'm sorry.
No, good seeing you.
So, Joe, sorry, continue.
My things, I make everything from scratch, from like hand forging knives, pulling water out of the Atlantic, making salt, So I have a national book called Seriously From Scratch. I have a show called From Scratch where I tour New England doing that. And I've been giving back to the Boys and Girls Club by doing kids classes. We had 20 of the kids come down, and they all made pasta from scratch. Then we made sauce, and then we went and fed the fire department and the police department, giving them a little philanthropic kind of view of what food can be. It's not just to shove in your pie hole. And then, now for tonight, I'm doing a donation where people can bid on me coming to their house, teaching them and 5 of their friends how to make a dinner. So we're going to make pasta, and we're going to make handmade tortellinis. We're going to make raviolis, roasted pistachio pesto, and then they're going to sit down, and everyone's going to chow family style. So, that's what I do, and my biggest belief is giving back to the kids, especially with food and teaching them how to cook, because it's a skill that can take forever. And it's something that, they're eating healthier, they're teaching their parents how to eat healthier, and, it's just a really good thing to do as a family. And when you're cooking together, you're loving together, it's called the heart of the house for a reason. So that's why I'm here.
Excellent, Joe. It's awesome that you love to get back in a way of fun, food, creativity. So now I have a curveball question for you, now that we've kind of established your phenomenalness. So, the Patriots.
Yes.
They're playing the Atlanta Falcons October 22nd.
Oh, yeah.
Prime time.
Yep.
Final score, prediction, who do you got?
I think they're going to be down 28-3, and they're going to come back again and rub it in their faces, and I'm going to laugh again.
I love it, Joe. Excellent. Hey.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a great night.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Joe.
All right, guys. Now I get to introduce one of my, I would like to say one of my very best friends at this point. A lot of times just being in development, you get to do all the talking, and I like to talk, so it's good. Hey, guys, I have a PowerPoint. Nobody's getting out of here till 11 o'clock, so don't. No. What I want to do is a lot of times when you're in development, you get to be up on stage, you get to be in the paper, you get to do a talk. But the truth is, I joke around. I'm like, I just get the investments. It takes this guy's the guy who comes up with the programs and comes up with the social work and does actually the hard job. If this was a Beatles reference, I'd be Paul McCartney because I'm more handsome, and he'd be John Lennon. So Adam Rogers, our executive director, do you want to come up to announce our second honoree?
Thanks, hon. Good evening, everybody. So the next, better? All right. The next award we're giving out tonight is to honor those who have laid the foundations which allow our clubs to flourish today. Specifically, we really want to highlight work that maybe goes on behind the scenes or isn't obvious and maybe goes forgotten over the years. But before we make the announcement of that honoree, I need to make a little announcement. So we can't discuss, Anthony's too short. Can't discuss the foundation of our clubs without mentioning Cameron Vane. The man who literally laid down the idea of the club and literally laid the physical club in Stoneham, put it together. Without Cameron, none of us would be here, and our kids really wouldn't have a home away from home. To honor Cameron's lifetime of service, from now on, the award we're about to give out will be called the Cameron Vane Founders Award. Cameron, would you please come up and accept a token of our gratitude?
Excuse me. I made enough speeches about myself. So tonight I'd like to talk to my partner in crime in getting funding for the club. And that was Mr. Ernie Colicchio. And his family is here tonight. And I think I'd just like to tell you some of the fun things we did together. I walked into his office and I says, Mr. Colicchio, would you consider being the general chairman of the fund drive for the Boys Club at that time? And Ernie loved to tease, and he teased me for a while. And then finally he says, well, when are we gonna meet? And I says, well, we should get together soon and get it started. He says, well, how about 5:30 tomorrow? And I says, yeah, I'll leave work early and I'll be here. He says, no, 5:30 in the morning. Ernie started out as a milkman, and he delivered the milk at night. And as soon as the sun come up, he'd drive down the street and he'd look around and he'd see all of the different sites, and he said, that will make a nice store. And so he'd get the address and the realtor's name and so forth, and next thing you know, he'd have a store there. And this went on and on and on, and I don't know how many stores he had, whether it was 50 or what, but it was a ton of them. And the other thing that I really loved about Ernie was I went into his office one day for a meeting, and he says, you don't mind if I write these checks while we talk? Well, everybody in town, in the surrounding towns, anywhere there was a Sunnyhurst store, would send a letter to Ernie and say, would you support my PTA, would you support my Little League team, would you support my fund drive or whatever? And Ernie would just arbitrarily pick out a figure and write it out and seal a check. And he would do that for hundreds of people. And the next month he'd turn around and do the same thing. And he never, I was there, so I knew what he was doing. I don't think anybody else in town knew. And people would say, oh, I know Mr. Colicchio, he gave me some money for my organization or something like that. But basically, no one knew about this. And so Ernie just put so much into this, getting this club going. And it was such a pleasure for me to work with him and learn from him. And so I think you'll hear more about Ernie later tonight, but I did want to say that, and I also want to say that this, as far as myself goes with the Boys and Girls Club, I got excited about it very early in life. I was just a boy myself, practically. And I worked about 12, 13 years on it before we finally got the club built. And, got started, so yeah. And so once we got it built, the biggest thrill was to walk into that club and see the kids. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And what's funny is one day a little guy comes up to me and he pulls at my jacket, and he says, you don't know me, but I'm a club member. And he says, I just want to thank you. He was such a gentleman, and looking up at me, I just couldn't believe a young guy could have so much poise. And there were many, many stories like that. And oftentimes moms dads tell me, I was a club kid, I remember you. And so that was just, it made a great impression on my life. And now that I'm getting a little old and a little sentimental, maybe a lot. I really have some fond memories that I can enjoy for the rest of my life. And it's wonderful to see all of you out here that I'm sure feel the same way I do about the club. And it's you guys that are going to keep it going now. So I just want to thank you as well. Thank you very much.
How do you follow that, huh? So, like Cameron talked about a little bit, and what I said earlier, the point of this award is really honoring Cameron and honoring people who helped us become what we are today. And maybe, you know, what told you the story about Ernie, something that maybe people don't know. And tonight we are honoring Ernie Colicchio, and he was the organization's first capital chairperson. And we're honoring him, his family, and their company, Middlesex Investment Partners. So as Cameron told you a little bit already today, Ernie was the founder of Sunnyhurst Farms and Sunnyhurst Dairy, and he was a staple of our local community here in Stoneham. And it was his friendship with Rocky Marciano that brought the boxing program to the club in the early days. And through his personal connections, generosity, and tireless efforts, the idea for the Stoneham Club really became a reality. And I love looking at, if you have a chance, you look at some of the old press clippings from the 70s, when they were building the club. And I think the one I was just looking at earlier said, you know, Ernie could get blood from a stone. He raised that money, he got the money. And I mean, I'm eternally grateful for all the work that they did early on to be able to let us be here and serve the kids the way we did. And Ernie raised over $250,000 in 1970 to help build the club. And you know, the same newspaper article we were looking at earlier quoted him, and they said, you know, why do you want to help? And then Ernie quoted saying that he was interested in helping as he himself was a club kid. As he joined the Charlestown Boys and Girls Club in 1921 at the age of 10. So, in addition to Ernie's contributions, his daughter-in-law and his son-in-law, Joe and Janet Senna, have continued their donations, often in the form of Red Sox tickets and sports tickets. I know a lot of club kids have gone to see their first sports games thanks to them and their generosity. So Anthony and I went to meet with Ernie's grandson, Chris, about a year ago, and we weren't sure how interested they would be in continuing their family's legacy. And you know, were they meeting us just as a favor to Cameron, or you know, what it was? But immediately when we met with them, it was clear that this is a family that has the community first mentality, and just like their grandfather and just like their parents, they reflected the values of the community. They didn't want to just donate, they wanted to make a significant impact in the lives of kids. So we talked to them about our desire to increase our mental health programming in the clubs, and they stepped up right away. And we're stepped up with a donation of $20,000 personally directed towards mental health programming at the club. So with that money, in addition to the money that we raised tonight honoring them, our mental health programming in Stoneham and Wakefield is going to take a huge leap forward, and we'll be able to do a lot more than what we are doing now. Chris, Joe, Steve. Your grandfather was the organization's first chairperson. He raised the money to allow us to be here tonight. He's left an incredible legacy, and you honor it in an incredible way. Thank you for continuing the work that he started with your local youth. Please come up and accept the first annual Cameron Vane Founders Award.
Hi, I'm Alex Brown here at the 4 Points Hotel at Sheraton in Wakefield, Massachusetts. I'm here with Riley. Riley is actually our club director at the Wakefield Boys and Girls Club. So, Riley, how's it been so far coming to the Wakefield Boys and Girls Club?
It's been incredible. It's been a year since I started, and I've learned a ton and met a lot of awesome people, and our community at the Wakefield Club just keeps growing and growing, so I'm really excited about where we're at right now.
Excellent. I know you also have some other Boys and Girls Club background with you. Where do your roots lie? Where do you come from?
So Wakefield is a little bit further than what I'm used to. I live in Dorchester currently, and I was at the South Boston Club for 5 years. So I came over to Wakefield about a year ago, and I'm loving it.
Excellent. Good. We're happy to have you, of course. And final question of the night. Cool Ranch Doritos or nacho cheese? You got to pick one.
I got it already. Nacho cheese all the way.
And why is that?
It's the original. You got to go with it.
I happen to be a Cool Ranch, but I think we'll allow it. Riley, thank you. We're very happy to have you here tonight. So that's it.
Thanks.
Darn, no, I know what we're doing. I don't even need to look at the script.
I know. I was going to give it to you, thinking you did, but.
You don't need to look at the script on the table. You only need to look at the one in your hand.
Sure. Actually, you guys took all my scripts. You ripped up the only one I had. I do need it back, actually. No, all right, guys. Tonight, this is going to be our last, but definitely not least honoree. So, for the longest time, this club had a relationship with a bank called Stoneham Savings Bank. Stoneham Savings Bank did quite a bit for us. We were very happy to have them. We actually have a former Youth of the Year who now sits on our board, who now works with what Stoneham Savings Bank became, Christine Murphy. Round of applause. I'm not going to make you stand up because you'll get mad at me. Morella Jonas, I'm going to have her stand up because no, you can, come on. Morella Jonas, who also sits on our board. But here's the thing. Stoneham Savings Bank got bought out by Salem 5. And when you're a community charity and one of your community banks gets purchased, you get worried. You come with a lot of anxiety. What are they going to do? Are they going to care? Are they going to think about the rinky-dink clubs? Are they going to think about the food pantries? Are they going to think about all the groups and all the people who depend on them for their survival? Well, we were wrong. Like I said, not only did Salem 5 continue the incredible legacy of Stoneham Savings Bank, they expanded it. They got 2 people on our board, like I just introduced, Morella and Christine, and we love working with them every day. Sometimes, no. We love working with them every day. The bank then made a multi-year commitment, which helped build the Stoneham Teen Center, expand financial literacy, and brings job skills training to young adults. You know, Adam talked about the legacy of Ernie Colicchio and his family. We talked about the Vane family. I think the legacy of Stoneham Savings Bank was not necessarily the bank, but it was what the bank did for our community. And I think I can proudly and happily say that that legacy has not only been honored by Salem 5, but has been expanded. So thank you guys for everything you do. Now, with that said, Mr. Chide, the CEO of Salem 5 and president, could not be here tonight, but we do have Jack Riley here. John. Joe. Riley. Whatever. It's all. Yeah. No, well, hey, listen, you guys ripped up my only script. No, but what I was Thanks, guys. I totally lost my place here. All right, where I was going with this is I do think I'm a firm believer that performance reflects leadership. And I think if you can say the performance of the bank in regards to giving back to its community, giving back to the children of Stoneham and Wakefield, the leadership then must have been exceptional because it means a lot. So, Mr. Riley, if you would come up and say a few words, I want to thank you on behalf of the Boys and Girls Club of Stoneham and Wakefield for everything you do. This is for you, but if you want to say a few words, then we'll do a photo.
Good evening, everyone. For those that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I'm John Jack Joe Riley. Johnny Joe to my friends.
Take the award back.
So it is really an honor tonight to be able to represent Salem 5. It is in particular a pleasure for me because I have a very long relationship with the Boys and Girls Club. On a personal level, growing up in Dorchester, it meant the world to me as a child of a single parent who needed someplace to go. And for the last 20 years, I have had the honor of being on the Boys and Girls Club of Lynn board. And I know that the work that you guys do on a daily basis is God's work. So Adam, it was Adam? Woo. Adam, Anthony, Alex, Joey, congratulations. Tonight has been very special. I also want to congratulate and thank the work of the fellow honorees tonight, Epsilon and Middlesex Investment Partners, for the incredible commitment that they have obviously made to this community. So thank you guys as well. So Salem 5 is a mutual banking organization, and that's important. The context for that is we have a 160-year legacy that goes back to a time when not everybody had access to banking services. And starting out in Salem, sea captains would come in and they had all kinds of access to all kinds of financial services. But those who worked with them on those boats, maybe not so much. And so the origin of mutual organizations, and particularly this mutual organization, was for community members to come together to pool their finances to help others in the community so that the community and the economics of the community grew. And that's the origins of what a mutual banking organization are about. And to this day, 160 years later, that is who Salem 5 is about. It is about a commitment to our customers, to our fellow colleagues within the organization, and most especially to the communities that we have the honor of serving. In that regard, and in particular, serving the youth of those communities and looking forward to our future is incredibly important to all of us. And so to be able to align with the Boys and Girls Club makes all the sense in the world. So I thank you for the opportunity to be able to do that. Morel and Christine have been recognized. There's a gentleman here that I'd like to recognize tonight who led the Stoneham Savings Bank for some time and has been instrumental in this community, and somebody that I have the great pleasure of being able to have an office alongside. So Jeff Worth, if you'd stand and take some applause. So with that, I will leave you with a proverb that came to my attention fairly recently that as I thought about tonight, I thought would be very appropriate. And I'm probably not going to do justice to this, but it goes something like this. If you want to be happy for an hour, take a nap. If you want to be happy for a day, go fishing. If you'd like to be happy for a year, inherit a fortune. But if you'd like to be happy for a lifetime, help someone. And with that, thank you all for being so helpful. Thank you.
I'm now here with Paul Broder, a representative of Wakefield. Paul, what's your experience been like in the town of Wakefield, working for the town of Wakefield?
It's been terrific. So, I'm up at the State House, and Wakefield is an interesting place because Representative Don Wong and I share Wakefield. He has basically the east side, I have the west side, and we like to think it gives you more bang for your buck because you get 2 reps instead of 1. It's been great. I grew up in Melrose. Other than the football rivalry, Melrose and Wakefield have a lot in common. It makes it a pleasure to represent Wakefield.
And your relationship to the Boys and Girls Club, what's it been like? How's it been like? And what's your favorite part about it?
Well, I'll tell you what. So I know Anthony Guardia from kind of back in the day, and he started talking to me about, hey, we're thinking about opening up a branch of the Boys and Girls Club. I'm like, wow, that's a really big lift. You got to find a place. You got to raise a ton of dough. God bless you. Good luck to you. Let me know what I can do to help. And it's gone from a couple of people meeting in someone's kitchen to this. It's unbelievable. And so the legislature put some money into the Boys and Girls Club for a bunch of different programs. And so now that the club has a presence in Wakefield, both myself and Representative Wong have been much more engaged about making sure Boys and Girls Club get their fair share in the state budget.
And it's been great. I know the kids down at the Boys and Girls Club love it, and we couldn't appreciate it anymore from all the help that you guys have been doing.
Stopping in, I tell you, folks should understand, even if they don't have kids that are age appropriate, stop by, take a look, see what it's like, interact with the kids a little bit, because this is spectacular. But it's what this turns into at the club, at the AmeriCal. That's really what you want to see. You want to see what happens to your money, and great things are happening with that money.
It's nice. It's been a nice, bigger outreach to the community, too. So I won't keep in my last question to you. You said Wakefield and Melrose have a bit of a rivalry, correct?
A little bit.
Do they play on Thanksgiving?
Every Thanksgiving, yes, sir.
Who do you think it's going to be this year?
Melrose has a very good team this year. But since we're standing here in Wakefield, I'm going to say Wakefield's got a very, very good shot this year.
Awesome. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, we are going to take a little bit of a pivot here because tonight has been a lot of fun, right? You guys had fun? Who's more fun than me? Not Joey. Jack's a great guy. Hey, listen, I would never have cooked ragu for those kids. All right, now, a lot of what we do every day, when we talk about all these programs and we talk about all this equipment and we talk about the teen center, I think sometimes we forget at events like this we're impacting a lot of real lives and real people who, while I think we can safely say we come from relatively affluent communities, are going through a lot of struggle. So our first testimonial isn't here tonight. She's a great, great woman. We worked on her speech for quite a bit. And at the end of the day, she decided that she did not want to give the speech because she didn't want her granddaughter or whatnot to be embarrassed if it ever came up. However, she asked me to read her speech, just changing the names and whatnot. And I'm going to honor her wishes. I'm going to read it, and then we're going to have some testimonials. So this is from a woman named Angela, whose granddaughter comes to our clubs. And she wrote, "Hi, my name is Angela. I'm a senior citizen, I'm retired, and I'm a very proud grandmother. Now, if you're a grandparent, you know the feeling I'm about to describe. I thought I couldn't love someone as much as I love my children. I was wrong. I love my little Emma. She's beautiful and she's so smart. She was swimming at 2 years old. When she had Spanish friends, she was becoming bilingual. She would look at me and say porquito, and I had no idea what she meant. Anyway, she is my pride and joy, and she is a member of the Boys and Girls Clubs here in Stoneham and Wakefield. Her father was my son. His name is Joseph. He is one of the bravest men I know. He joined the Army when he was young, and I still remember the anxiety I had when he went to war. I didn't know I would have even more anxiety when he came back. My son came back different. He was not physically different, but he was mentally different. He saw things that changed his life. He stopped believing in God. He couldn't sleep. He was prescribed painkillers. At that time, I lived in Florida. I had a great job at a local hospital. I had a big house, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and an in-ground pool. You name it, I had it. Then one day, I was told by the state that my little 2-year-old Emma had 2 options. Either she goes with me, or she goes with state custody and to a foster home. I did what any grandparent would do. I took her in. Everything changed. Senior housing no longer became an option in my long-term plans because you're not allowed to bring children. My 401k now had to double as a college fund. Finally, I suffer from cardiomyopathy, and I was told if anything happens to me, Emma would end up with the state. I have family here in Massachusetts, so I moved where others could be her backup guardian. When I moved, I gave up the job, the house, and the money here doesn't go as far as it does in Florida. Job searching went from days to months to years. No one wanted to hire a woman in her 60s who needs a flexible schedule because she had a toddler to take care of, and minimum wage retail jobs do not cover the costs of raising a child. We ended up moving to Dorchester. There we found a Boys and Girls Club. I remember thinking I can't afford all the things they have. Then I found out that no one was turned away. Emma did everything, she made friends, she loved it. Then one day, my sister and I finally found a place for me to settle in the suburbs. I live right on the Stoneham and Wakefield line, right by Bear Hill Country Club. My one hesitation, I needed a Boys and Girls Club. Emma loves her club, she needs it. To my surprise, there were 2. I remember right after we moved in, I visited the clubs, and just like that, Emma made a close group of friends. She got involved in the tech programs, she plays sports, she absolutely loves it. And they do things for us you wouldn't even think of. So when you're broke, the holidays are the worst. It's sad when you cannot buy toys for your grandchildren on Christmas. It is absolutely heartbreaking when you cannot even afford to have her take a picture with Santa. I told the clubs I bought a small tree from the new Dollar Tree, and when they saw it, you know what they did? They got me a bigger one that could actually be decorated. They made sure Santa said hi to Emma when he visited the clubs, and they constantly look after both of us. Tonight, you're going to be asked to give. And when you give, most of the time you think of little kids like Emma. But I also want you to think of their grandparents. Because I've lived here for over a year now, and I'm not alone. There are many grandparents in Stoneham and Wakefield, and they depend on the clubs. Like me, they are private, prideful, and somewhat sadly ashamed. So when you give, don't just think of the children and the grandchildren, but please think of their grandparents, because you're helping them too. I hope you'll give to these clubs for me, for Emma, and all the other grandparents who look to the Boys and Girls Clubs for help. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. So our next testimonial goes to someone who is fairly new to our Boys and Girls Club, who I actually had the pleasure of working with over this past summer as co-director with him, and he's done a fantastic job thus far. He's the current program director at the Stoneham Boys and Girls Club. He unfortunately beat me in fantasy football this past week, and I don't have a win yet, but I still love him. Please, a nice big round of applause for Mr. Keith Langlis.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Good luck. The read-in, homework helps. Thank you, everyone, for coming. You guys are the reason that we are able to operate and change so many kids' lives. I thank you all for being here. I just want to give you a little story about my background. A few years ago, I decided I wanted to dedicate my career to helping children. I wanted to help children make the right choices in life. Unfortunately, life sometimes doesn't give you the choice. You cannot choose your mother, you cannot choose your father, and you cannot choose getting cancer. I lucked out. God gave me wonderful parents, my mother especially. My mom was the president of
I think every single youth organization in my town. My brothers and I always had teammates over. We had friends doing homework, playing games, and my mom was a mentor to all of them. I never went to the Boys and Girls Club when I was younger because my house was the Boys and Girls Club. Then, at the age of 12, my life changed. My mother suffered from a major brain aneurysm. My house became empty. I was doing homework at Mass General. For 180 days, I went from school to the bus to the train to the hospital to visit my mother. When my mom came home, she needed a lot of help. My brothers, my father, and myself would help out as much as we could. For the next 13 years, health issues did not stop. My mom was constantly in and out of the hospital dealing with kidney failure, strokes, and eventually lung cancer. I was a young adult. I missed the way my life was. At that time, I went to the Boys and Girls Club. They gave me my first job. I began working with kids. The best part of the day was for a few hours, I thought of nothing but the kids. When those kids were happy, when they learned something, when they asked me to coach their team, I finally understood what my mom did for all of us. I'll never forget the phone call. It was the day after my 25th birthday. I was working. It was my dad on the other end. He said I need to rush over to hospice. There was not much time left. That night, my mom passed away. I was devastated. I was told by the club to take as much time as I needed. The very next day, I couldn't wait to get back to work. At that moment, I realized that not only did the kids need me, but I also needed the kids. Because when I was there, it didn't hurt as much. I like to think that feeling is reciprocal. That when a child comes through the door, they see me, they see Alex or Donna, that their pain has to hurt a little less when they're at our clubs. And I think it does hurt a little less. I saw last week an 8-year-old laughing, making slime in the art room, while her mother bravely battles autoimmune disorder. I have a conversation nearly every day with a teenage boy whose brother died of an overdose. Every day I meet people, they never thought they would need our club. And like me, they needed more than I could ever imagine. So while no Boys and Girls Club will ever be good as my mom's home, the most fitting tribute I could give her to impact the children of the Boys and Girls Club of Stoneham and Wakefield like she impacted me. My brothers, my friends. And if you donate today, I swear that we will use your investment to make sure that our clubs are as impactful as my mom's home. Thank you.
No. Keith is one of the best people I know, period. All right, guys, our final speaker before we do Fund and Need is somebody who's younger than me, but I look up to quite a bit. She's just an awesome, awesome kid, and she has a very, very bright future. I'd like to invite Ashley Lane to the front. You got this. You good?
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready. So, Ashley, it's your world. You good?
I'm already crying. Keith's story really got me. So my name's Ashley. I'm 15 and I go to Northeast Metro Tech in Wakefield. My shop is HVAC. So let me start. A big part of the Boys and Girls Club of Stoneham and Wakefield is our middle school population. And as a recently former middle schooler, I can honestly say preteens can be very dramatic. They have few responsibilities, rely on their parents almost everything, and would worry about the silliest things. I remember in 6th grade, the other kids' worries were endless. They would worry about who liked them, what they wear. They worry about their grades. I never had those worries. I had other worries. For example, I remember worrying about my brothers and sister. I'm the oldest of 4, and I always made sure they were okay before I was. At 11 years old, I cooked for them most nights and was the only one who would tuck the 2 little ones in. But their safety was my biggest concern. In my house, drugs and alcohol were always a big problem. When things got rough, I would ask my brothers and sister if they were okay. And many times, I wouldn't leave the house because I was worried something bad would happen to them. For example, I was always worried about DCF. They were at our house constantly, so what if they decided to surprise us with a search and I wasn't there to help anybody? It was a constant anxiety that I always had in the back of my head. Worst of all, I thought that kind of thing was normal, because it was all I knew. But the worst anxiety I ever came to was when a lot of my classmates were worrying too. The night of our 6th grade dance. I remember being excited for a school event. That night, my mom was not just drinking as usual. She was mixing Percocets with her drinks. I forgot about the dance and started worrying about my 3 younger siblings. I did what I usually do when my mom's drinking became extreme and locked them in one of the bedrooms and told Jacob, the second oldest, to distract my younger siblings, Lily and Nathan, until she calmed down. Unfortunately, she didn't calm down. She got more and more intense. My uncle, who was one of the 10 who lived with us, tried to keep me away from her, and because of my terrible anxiety, I was hyperventilating and started feeling nauseous. This made my mom angry. She screamed that no one would take her daughter and violently grabbed me. She forced me out of the room. She threatened to drink bleach, cut her wrists, and pass out. She eventually woke up and locked herself in the living room, and when the cops came, they had to open the door by force. That night, everything changed. My dad was given custody. We moved states, and my dad brought us to the Boys and Girls Club. I hated it. I would fight other kids, I would yell at staff. I'd hide in the bathroom and refuse to leave. I was in shock. I went from a dope house surrounded by druggies to a club where everyone kept telling me they cared. But I thought nobody cared. I thought I was better off dead. They started winning my siblings over. One by one, each of my younger brothers and sisters started to like the club. I thought they were traitors. Then they slowly started winning me over. They even helped my depression, and I cannot repay them enough. I started writing poetry, I got involved in other programs. They even gave me a job.
You're better than Alex and Joey.
Every Friday, every Monday and Wednesday, I run the art room. At home, my father is a single father working a full-time job, a recovering alcoholic, and probably the strongest man I've ever met. My dad is here. Stand up. My brother is here too. He's 14, and he's my best friend. You stand up too. And while our house is still small, our life is so much better. I am now 15 years old, a sophomore in high school. I have amazing siblings. My brother Jacob is like my best friend, a spectacular father and a grandmother who support me on everything I do, and I have the boys club I can always count on for anything. So tonight, you've heard about and seen a lot of our programs, everything from woodworking to building computers to sports to art. But the best part of the Boys and Girls Club is the staff. They care. They really care. And they refuse to give up on you, even if you gave up on everybody else. But more specifically, I would like to give a shout out to Jessica Anthony for being like the older sister I never had, but always wanted. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Jess. So before you leave, if you don't donate because of the programs, I want you to donate because of the staff. I want you to donate so that the Boys and Girls Club of Stoneham and Wakefield will continue to never quit on the Ashleys, the Jacobs, the Nathans, and the Lilies. So I wrote a poem, and I'm going to end with it. For days on end, darkness surrounded me, swallowing me whole into the pity of my own problems. Feeling as if nobody cared seemed to be a daily routine. And it seemed as the days went on, I would always end up back in the tunnel leading me back into yesterday. As the time passed on, I felt the same, just another cut on my wrist to help mend the pain. Yet that was temporary, and it led to so much more. I needed help, but who to go to, I wasn't sure. My therapist, and 3 years later, I've grown so much, and the people who helped me, I cannot thank enough. Thank you.
Give us a little hug. Come on, give us a hug. You're still getting away. Allergies in this room are brutal. Ventilation's gonna get checked or something. No, Ashley's the best. I mean, it's true. You just, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say, which is the first. We're gonna have to stay for 1 extra minute, but it's for a really good reason. First things first, let me give a shout out to WCAT for filming the entire event. They were here since this afternoon. Second things, I'm going to read out the winners of the silent auction. If they're not here, or if they're here, we'll give it to you. Ray Bork autograph and game used puck, Wanda Poor. 2 tickets to the Boston Harbor Whale Watch and Polcari's, Christine Surratt. 2 tickets to Celtic Thunder at Foxwoods, Jason Ryan. Kids Pizza Party for 15 is Cheryl Mozzarella. Janet Senna won the gift card to Davio's and the overnight stay Sheraton. Dandy Christofora, and that's it, guys. All right, one last final announcement. So, can everybody hear me in the back? All right, guys, if you're leaving, that's great, but I need you to leave silently because this is big. All right, this is great. So as I was walking around, I ran into a very good friend who's been here tonight, Ed Bennett. Ed, can you come up for a minute? Ashley, where are you? Sam and Keith. So I was having a conversation with Ed earlier. If you don't know, Ed here Ed here is a member of the Greenwood Union Church. He has now joined Restoration Road. And the reason I bring this up, thank you, Sarah. The reason I bring this up is that he just, we've been talking for a while. I think we've become friends now, right? Oh, close. Close, very close. He informed me that after hearing the speech from Keith and Ashley and Sam and the anonymous letter, that he is willing, him and the church, I shouldn't say you personally, the church, and we've done a lot with our faith communities here, but acting out their faith and living out their faith, they are willing to make a $10,000 deposit on, a larger pledge of 6 figures that will be coming to the Boys and Girls Clubs because of the speeches they heard tonight. So let's give Ed, Restoration Road, and the Greenwood Union Church a whole round of applause. Completely unexpected. Ed, do you want to say anything? Ed doesn't want to say a few words, but
Get out of the way, Shrek. Get out of the way.
What do we got, till midnight? No, I just wanted to thank the staff. I just kind of strolled through about 3 months ago. I mean, we all know the Boys and Girls Club's been there. I don't have kids that age, so, but I was in the building, and Riley, big round of applause to her, just kind of asked me what I was doing and then showed me around, and I was just blown away by how much the Boys and Girls Club are doing. You know, when you're not in, have kids that age, you really don't know. So it was just awesome. I was drawn in. Hearing the testimonies tonight, the staff, these guys, you know, they're just pouring out their love on the community. And as a faith-based organization, that's what we try to do, is just love on the community. And these guys do it each and every day. And we hear these testimonies, and to have these kids come into the club and not be judged. All that stuff that's going on out there in their family life or in school, it's left at the door, and those kids can be themselves. And so a big round of applause to these guys that are in the trenches each and every day for our kids.
next year you're going to be honored. We're good? You want me to wrap it up?
Go for it.
All right, hey, let's give it up for Alex and Joey, MCs of the night. Hey, let's give one last applause. Ashley Slane, Sam Rexroad, Keith Langlis, you guys made the night. Guys, thank you so much. We raised nearly $100,000 tonight. It's all because of you.